That is not stability, brothers and sisters. That is selfishness. And that is what we must reject as a country tonight, brothers and sisters. Last week we saw Rohan Sinanan pointing to Balize House and saying this is stability. Brothers and sisters, do not fall for that foolishness. How can the PNM boast about stability when they ruined and eroded this country's energy stability when they closed down the Petrotrin refinery? How can the PNM boast about stability when they increased the price of fuel 7 times in 9 years? Brothers and sisters, the PNM cannot boast about stability when extortions and home invasions have become a cancer in this country. Brothers and sisters, stability for the PNM is when they can benefit. Stability for the PNM is when they can have recusals come out cabinet and their friends and families and financiers benefit. But stability for Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC is when the people of this nation can benefit. When you and your families are safe. Stability is when you have food on your table. Stability for Kamla Prasad Bisesa is when you have a job to go to. And brothers and sisters, I tell you, in a matter of weeks, Kamla Prasad Bisesa will return as your Prime Minister to deliver that stability. As a country, we are at a very important crossroad in our nation's history, the most important crossroad, because we have a choice between the PNM's chaos and the UNC's people-centered progress. Today, the UNC is the only political party. Let me repeat it for you. The United National Congress is the only political party in this country. And Kamla Prasad Bisesa is the only political leader that is capable of changing, saving, and rebuilding this country. Don't listen to no 2x4 leaders where they come from. Kamla Prasad Bisesa is the only leader that can save and rebuild this country. Brothers and sisters, Kamla's UNC represents stability. It represents competence, experience, and most of all, Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her team represents compassion for our society. The UNC and the PNM are not the same. Tonight I speak to the young people listening, the young people who may not have voted in 2020 or 2015. The UNC and the PNM, we are not the same. The UNC is geared towards saving this country. When the government in the past 9 years refused to address the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago, it was the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who came to you, the people, with a series of anti-crime meetings. When this government tried to take away your democratic right, remember when they postponed local government elections, it was your political leaders standing up and getting those elections. When the Paria tragedy occurred, taking away 4 lives of our 4 brothers, it was Kamla Prasad Bisesa that made this government have a commission of inquiry to get justice for them. The UNC led by Kamla Prasad Bisesa is about performance, while the PNM represents crisis. Tonight I want to tell you, and we have our chief whip in the crowd tonight, and he has told you time and time again, Kamla Prasad's government left oil production at 70,000 barrels of oil. Today, the man who wants to be your prime minister, Stuart Young, has carried oil production to the lowest since 1950. Young had one job, and that was the Ministry of Energy. And he took the Ministry of Energy back to the point of 1950. How can you trust Stuart Young with your country? You cannot. The only person you can trust is Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Kamla built an entire children's hospital. She gave you the Children's Life Fund as well as the baby grant, all in an effort to protect and preserve the lives of our nation's children. What is the record of this government? The record of this government is that the lives of 8 babies are stained on the hands of this government after they died in the NICU last year. And up to now, those families cannot get justice. That is the record of this government. Brothers and sisters, the UNC and the PNM are not the same. Kamla Prasad Bisesa removed VAT on 7,000 food items. Today, Keith Rowley, Stuart Young, and every single member of the cabinet who is returning are saying that you must pay tax for the homes you live in because they brought back property tax. Brothers and sisters, you must say no to them when election day. The UNC and the PNM are not the same because when the UNC wins, we all win. When the UNC wins, young people win with opportunities. Right here in Sangre, Grande, they win with the White Center. David Lee would have taken the MIC bus throughout Sangre Grande. Brothers and sisters, when the UNC wins, the economy wins with growth. Kamala Prasad Bisesa has delivered this country's largest foreign direct investment under her term. When the UNC wins, families win with safety and security. Brothers and sisters, my time is up here tonight, but we as a country have a job, and that job in 2025 is to end the decade of crisis, catastrophe, and chaos caused by the PNM. We must vote them out, and vote them out. Thank you, brothers and sisters, and long live our political leader.
Should make you stronger. So my problems is like
Come on, Toco, Sangre, Grande, we can do better than that, man. Let me hear it. Let us hear it for Nicholas Morris. Toco, Sangre, Grande, let's the leader hear us. So, Nicholas would have said, once the UNC win, everybody wins. Let me hear you. Once the UNC wins, everybody wins. Now, I could attest when he said that this region would have benefited a lot under the United National Congress with the leadership of Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Toco, Sangre, Grande, he would have seen new roads, the bypass, the indoor facility at Toco, at the recreation ground up there. Up to today, cannot open because of the failure of this incompetent government. My friends, we are the corporation. We depend from funding from central government. And to date, we are nearly half of the financial year, and to date, we have not received any funding to do any infrastructure work in the corporation. So when you come to the corporation to get a road paved, and we write to Imbut, when you try calling, they're not even answering. We have a minister of local government. Since his inception as the Minister of Local Government, never reach out with none of the corporation, to liaise with none of the councillors to ensure that he hear what is the needs and wants of the people of the region of Sangre Grande and Trinidad and Tobago. We have a government who failed to release funding for corporation at local government, the local government level, to ensure that we deliver goods and services to the people. We are classed as the most poorest region. We are treated as the bastard child. We have been applying to use funding from unspent balances in the corporation to assist the less fortunate in our region with food items for the Christmas. We would have did all that we need to do through the corporation and send it for approval to the minister. Try calling the Minister of Local Government, and to date, he has failed to respond to any of the calls and any of the letters to address the needs of the people of the region. You think this government care about the people of Sangre Grande? It's the most wicked and incompetent government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. My friends, our next speaker is Mr. Devesh Maharaj. Mr. Devesh Maharaj is the candidate and next MP for St. Joseph. He is a prominent attorney at law and the managing partner at Devesh Maharaj and Associates since 1995. Mr. Maharaj is the advisor to the President, Dr. Louis Nurse, of the Trinidad and Tobago First Capital Committee, based in St. Joseph. He has also been the chairman of the International Love All, Serve All initiative and advisor to the Casablanca Steel Orchestra. He has been organizing a food kitchen serving hundreds of meals to the homeless in Port of Spain and environs every day for the past 8 years. Mr. Devesh Maharaj was educated at Lochmabin RC School, Cedras, San Fernando, Boys High School, Presentation College, University of the West Indies, St. Augustine and Cave Hill, and the Hugh Warden Law School. Mr. Devesh Maharaj is the MP, I will call him, for St. Joseph. Let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Devesh Maharaj, attorney at law.
Because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources. And all of them still can't kill me now. You see, as them sink me on the ice floe, ride out the storm, them just like a boat. So as the box me down, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up.
Good night, brothers and sisters of Sandy Grande. The loudest group here, the most vibrant group here tonight is from St. Joseph. But I'm not hearing you, Sandy Grande people. Where are you? I bring you greetings from the great constituency of Aranguez and Joseph. We have come down to Sandy Grande tonight in support of our brother, Mr. Wayne Sturge. Please give him a round of applause. One of the most prominent attorneys in Trinidad and Tobago, accomplished, successful, and I'm proud to say he was a member of our chambers before he moved on to smaller chambers. Good night, political leader who's tuned in, members of Parliament, our Chief Whip, and thanks to Nicholas Morris for waking up this crowd here. A very powerful contribution from Nicholas Morris. Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here today for a very sacred mission. What is that mission? To vote the PNM out of office. When we gathered here tonight in this energetic manner, and we take this energy out into the constituency, I know Brother Wayne Sturge has a very large area he has to walk through. Take your energy out. Convince the people out there that UNC is the only alternative, brothers and sisters, for the next general election, which is going to come sooner than you expect. Are you ready? I'm not hearing you all. Are you all asleep? Are you ready? Thank you, brothers and sisters. When UNC win, not just UNC people, brothers and sisters, everybody wins. As I walk through the great constituency of Aranguez and Joseph, we have spoken to so many people, and they all have complaints that have not been addressed by the current government, the current administration. We all know the most prevalent issue, brothers and sisters, throughout Trinidad and Tobago is what? Not hearing you all. Crime. Everywhere you go, it's crime. You talk to the Aranguez Taxi Drivers Association, they are being robbed. They have asked the police to put up some cameras, none are forthcoming. You go through the business community of Aranguez, they are being extorted daily. You have home invasions, and we have inaction by the current government. What is their reaction to all this level of crime in the year of election? They instituted something called a state of emergency. Have you seen the benefits of the state of emergency? The police came forward yesterday in a conference, and I mean, you have to be treating people with a degree of stupidity. A DCP came forward and said, the murder rate for the year is down. We have 15 days in the month of January. 15 days, and he says the murder rate is half of last year. We haven't even covered a month. Every day you are seeing other types of illegalities going on. Brothers and sisters, just permit me. TCH 1643. TCH 1643, please attend to your vehicle. It's blocking. But I would leave that for Brother Wayne Sturge to deal with more in depth. But the point is, what is the effects? What are the effects, of crime in your community? When you get home at 4 o'clock, 4:30 or 6 o'clock from the heavy traffic, you're unable to have any social life. You cannot go out anywhere. You have to stay at home. You cannot go to a restaurant for fear of being robbed. I had a friend, an engineer, I have a friend. His story, 23rd of December, he's traveling east. He looks in the rearview mirror, there's a pair of lights, headlights on him. So he shifts to the right. The light in the back shifts to the right. He said, but this is strange. He moves to the left, the lights move to the left. He drives down to Trinity Boulevard, speeds up, the car is following him. He makes the roundabout, gets on the highway, and has to accelerate, brothers and sisters, to over 220 kilometers per hour heading east, escaping a car. Some bodies, 3 persons in a car, saw him and decided to follow him to possibly kidnap him and extract a ransom. And this is happening daily in Trinidad and Tobago. When the police comes and tell us that crime is down, is it really down? Are you feeling safer? How can you live in a happily and be prosperous in a country when you cannot even go outside in the night? What is the government doing about it? Their answer to this, to all of this criminal activity, to all of this unlawfulness, brothers and sisters, is to create something, a state of emergency. No curfew. We know the problem. They said there was a gun amnesty. Apparently, there's no gun amnesty. So what you are really doing, you're coming to the population and saying, hey, we are doing something about the crime. When 9 years ago, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar asked Dr. Rowley, asked the government, please cause a state of emergency to be put in place. She reiterated the call at least 3 times. Refusal. Why was it done at the beginning, at the end of last year, the beginning of this year? 624 murders, brothers and sisters. 624 murders of your brothers and your sisters. The blood soaked this country. And it's only then the Prime Minister decided, but we don't know if it's the Prime Minister, perhaps the Prime Minister designate decided to call a state of emergency to fool the population that somehow they're dealing with this problem. But we will not be fooled. We know that this situation cannot be solved by a state of emergency without any other powers. We know that there has to be more active policing. And we know that the youth of this country who are seeped in despair have nowhere to turn to, and that is why they are turning to crime. Brothers and sisters, as I walk throughout Aranguez and Joseph, apart from crime, you know what is the greatest problem? The young people who are liming on the side of the road, they have no future. They see no future. The young people here today, are you seeing a future under this government? Are you having any opportunities? Brothers and sisters, if you want to open a business, if you have a wonderful idea, and you want to import computers from abroad, you want to import chocolates from abroad, can you do it? You do not have that opportunity. You know why? A simple thing like US dollars you cannot get. You cannot get Forex. But other people are getting Forex. How is that right? How is that right in a society? When we as citizens, we have an equal place here. But when you go to the bank, you cannot even get $200 to travel. But other people are getting millions to import goods and services. They are being branded as successful. You are being branded as a failure, brothers and sisters. Could that be right? We, when UNC wins, when UNC wins, we are going to change that. As soon as we get into office, we are going to ensure that there's an equitable distribution, brothers and sisters, of that essential ingredient. As we walk through the lower part of Aranguez, you know Aranguez was once considered the food basket of Trinidad. Food basket. So many farmers we had producing farms, producing crops and so on. Do you know that when the flood came in 2018, 2019, the majority of the farmers in Aranguez could not get relief from the government? You know why? They were not registered as farmers. To be registered as a farmer in Trinidad, you have to produce a deed or some lease or something from the landlord. We have over 400 farmers in Aranguez, St. Joseph, that don't have documents. The landlords would not give them. You cannot get access to any help from the government. You cannot get your subsidies. You cannot get help. And brothers and sisters, you yourself, you get through all of that hurdles, and you are able to grow your crops. You know what is happening? The day you're going to go to get your crops, the night before they steal out everything. Pray their larceny. Crime in Aranguez. What is happening? And when you report it to the police, either they're overwhelmed, they don't have sufficient vehicles. It is just so much crime that is taking place, brothers and sisters. I am sure Brother Wayne will tell you there's the same problem in Sangre Grande. Sangre Grande being a large agricultural community, that is what is happening. And brothers and sisters, my time seems to be rapidly moving on. But what about health care? What about health care? I read an interesting article today, and I will share it with you. It carried in the Trinidad Express. I'll just pull it up quickly. And it was a joint select committee in the Parliament. And they were asking, Senator Paul Richards was asking the Ministry of Health officials, and I'll pull it up here, about access to health care. Can't seem to get it. And he was asking the CEO at the Mount Hope Hospital, and I'm paraphrasing here, about access to emergency health care. Emergency health care. How quickly can you as a citizen access emergency health care when you go to the hospitals? And I think the CEO of Mount Hope was saying there are limited resources that are available, and therefore they may not be able to deliver as quickly as they can. They may not be able to deliver as quickly as they can. Earlier this week, we were given some news item that Mr. Terence de Alsing, our Minister of Health, suffered some persistent coughing, and he had to attend on the Mount Hope facility and got quick treatment. And I wish him all the well. I tried to reach out to him. I couldn't get his number, to wish him all the best. And I'm grateful that the minister was able to access emergency health care. But can you, if you have that condition, can you get to the Mount Hope facility and get emergency health care? You can't. Why it is, he can access it, and I'm glad that he can. I am not rejecting it, right? But each and every citizen in Trinidad and Tobago ought to access this emergency health care when and required. Brothers and sisters, when the UNC gets into government, we are going to ensure that you get equal, competent, and efficient health care for each and every one of you when needed. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, everybody wins. Brothers and sisters, as I close up here tonight, I want to tell you that the period of darkness is over. The darkness that has enveloped Trinidad and Tobago for the last 10 years is over. The light is rising, the sun is shining in the east. It will dispel this darkness. It is providing us with light forward, and under the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisasa, we are going to bring back prosperity, we are going to bring back a safe Trinidad, and we are going to bring back happiness for each and every one. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Toco Sangre Grande. Let's give it up for Mr. Devesh Maharaj. Toco Sangre Grande. Are you in the house tonight? Are you UNC and proud? Are you UNC and strong? Are you UNC as a new government? Tonight, as we heard our colleague, incoming MP, Devesh Maharaj spoke and gave us some highlights. Two things stood out. And the two things that stood out to me was the constant inconsistency of this government and the constant and blatant incompetency of this PNM government. And that is why we have to do what is necessary. Come election day, we have to vote them out. We have to vote them out. We have to vote them out. Tonight, I want to just take a minute to acknowledge some distinguished guests in our presence tonight who have took the time off to grace us with their presence. And among us tonight, we have Senator, Deputy Political Leader Jearlean John. We have MP Khadijah Ameen, who is no stranger to Toco Sangre Grande. We have MP David Lee. We have MP Rudy Randall Singh. We have MP Barry Padarat. We have MP Sicharan. We have the National Campaign Manager, Mr. Firoz Khan. Again, no stranger to Toco Sangre Grande. And we have a humble but powerful man in our midst tonight. And that is our the General Secretary, Mr. Peter Kanhai. He may seem quiet, but he's a resilient powerhouse. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to bear in mind and take note of the failing infrastructures that we have in the region. Our roads are failing, our bridges are failing, and we even have schools that are in a dilapidated state. And because of these things, we have witnesses here, all the way up from the North Coast, all the way from Toco, who can speak about the blatant disregard by this sitting government for the past 9 years, who have failed to produce and provide proper school facilities for the coastline. And that is why we're going to vote them out. Toco Sangre Grande, we're going to vote them out. Toco Sangre Grande, we're going to get them out. Tonight, it is now my esteemed pleasure to introduce to you our candidate for Toco Sangre Grande, our incoming MP for Toco Sangre Grande, Mr. Wayne Sturge. Now I call him Mr. I call him Mr. Wayne Sturge because he's a gentleman, but he's attorney at law, Wayne Sturge.
Sandy Grande! Good night. I'd like to say a special good night to the political leader and leader of the opposition, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who is looking out from home. A good night to our deputy political leaders, Mr. David Lee, Ms. Khadijah Ameen, and Ms. Jearlean John, who are here with us, members of Parliament, honorable senators, and to you, the people of Toco, Sangre, Grande, good night. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few weeks' time, the bell will ring. In a few weeks' time, the power that the government has and the power to change course is in your hands. And the government, the same exact persons, the same pickup side of proven failures who governed you for the last 5 years, they are the exact same pickup side of failures who are coming to ask you for a chance to fail you for another 5 years. What are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a member of parliament for Toco Sangre Grande. Toco Sangre Grande has been in the parliament under the People's National Movement for the past 10 years. First with homegrown Glenda Jennings, and now with Mr. Monroe. And for the last 10 years, have you seen improvement in Toco Sangre Grande? But the member of parliament, the current member of parliament, Monroe, I looked at a report from the Auditor General for 2023, and she told us, she told the country that for that report for 2023, MP Monroe collected $753,000 in rent for 2023. I can't wait for 2024. And what I want to ask you, the MP who Toco Sangre Grande voted in for the last 5 years has been collecting $750,000 plus in rent a year. So what I do for you? What that do for you, Akaya? One speech in Parliament in 5 years. Nothing for Toco Sangre Grande in the last 5 years. He's used the Parliament to do nothing in the last 5 years to bring to bear the plight of Toco Sangre Grande. And now he's coming again. Now he's coming again to ask you for another chance, for another 5 years, to do nothing again. What you going to do? Vote him out. Throw some salt. Throw some salt. And PNM say they could put a crapper in a tie. Well, it's time to throw some salt. Put that crapper and do nothing for nobody. Monroe and the PNM are like friends with benefits. They are like friends with benefits. And the only one benefiting is them. So they come in to use you and abuse you for another 5 years. You know why? Because they take you for granted. Are you going to allow them to take you for granted for another 5 years? Wake up, Toco Sangre Grande. Monroe especially must go. I want to tell you a story. I walked Valencia recently, last week. Valencia has so much problems. But I want to give you one story because this one really bothered me. I met two sisters. Both of them have children. Right next door to their home in La Plata, there's a water pumping station. But whenever it rains, raw sewage flows into her house. Tampons, maxi pads, used, flowing into her house. And she has to clean raw sewage. She told Mr. Monroe about the problem years ago. She ring down the phone, she loud him up and asked him to come. And when he finally come, he look at it and he say he fixing that next week. That was 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. A problem as serious like that. What about the problems faced by the youth? You know, the Minister of Local Government, he and his wife's family, they don't miss a rent payment. You know, the government pays them every month. More than $2 million a month. $24 million, $48 million total so far. But he is not releasing funds so that the recreation grounds could be clean so that the youths could play football. He's another one. Where the group from Grande? What you had to do with Mr. Faris Al-Rawi? What you had to do with Faris? Listen, access roads, not fixing. Nothing fixing. The cold storage the UNC put up in disrepair. The early childhood care center built in Valencia, they make sure out of spite, wickedness, vindictiveness, they're not opening it. Who's suffering? Who's suffering? Fishing depot, no fishing depot. But I want to go to something, the Grande market, before I go to that, the Grande market, no water, a simple thing like a pump. No water, problems with sewage, and imagine the town of Grenville in Grenada has a better market than Toco Sangre, than the Grande market, sorry. How does that make sense in a country rich with oil and gas? That making any sense? No. That is making no sense. Now, members, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go to the most burning issue of crime. This government broke records every year since 2015. Every year is a new record for murders. And now they want to claim that murders done during an SOE. Murders done during an SOE, but Monday night, right outside Four Roads Police Station, one man get 84 shots. What does that prove? This is a lame duck SOE. Then you have Mr. Griffith. All of a sudden he jump out himself and want to come around me. Well, I want to address him tonight. Because Griffith said, judge him by the murder rate. And the only victory he claimed to say the murder rate was down was when we was locked down during COVID. That is not his victory, that is a lockdown. So Griffith himself is a proven failure. The only people Griffith does not let down is the 1%. He got a Kobo sweat as police commissioner. 1 minute, he want to cozy up under Kamala. Next minute, he want to cozy up under Rowley. Now Rowley gone, he want to cozy up under Stewart to serve the interests of the 1%. But want to attack me. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just make something clear, because he said that Wayne Sturge is responsible for letting go all the criminals. Let me tell you something about that. That is so disingenuous. I do not make the decision to let go anybody. I'm a lawyer. I represent people charged with offenses. Sometimes they are innocent. Sometimes things are fabricated. Sometimes police set them up. The same police who get held in a robbery 2 nights ago from a special unit, because the police service are bad people. Police service setting up one gang in favor of the other. So when a citizen is charged with a criminal offense, in the same way that the little girl who was his second cousin, now first cousin, sitting down on a pile of drugs in Regent Towers, the same way that was a mistake. What about when Black Hen Chicken from Valencia get caught with some marijuana? That is not a mistake too? Right. So when White Fowl having party, COVID party in Bayside Towers, he can't do nothing, like 1%. But when Black Hen Chicken in Sealots, bathing by the side, by the beach, a whole crew of police with gun to their head, so he could make a video saying, sorry Gary, so he could feel the ego. When Black Hen Chicken, bathing right next door to Bayside Towers, on the Cocoa Ridge Beach, he can lock them up. But White Fowl, he can't do that. When the children of 1% holding high-powered rifles up in Kumoto and playing with it and practicing with it, he ain't locking them up. But when other people get hold with it, he gonna lock them up. And he proud about that. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This man is a failure. Because he said, he was truthful about one thing. He wanted to go and say that I freeing everybody, so I win in all the case, right? Well, I represent people, just like I'm coming to represent you. So I am a winner. He is a loser. He is a failure. Listen, if he was serious, why he don't find out why the case is falling down in the criminal justice system? Why he don't find out? Because let me tell you something, they have something called due process and protection of the law, and that is what a lawyer is for. The police lock you up, we have to make sure the system works so that the innocent are not wrongfully imprisoned. Right? So due process and protection of the law and constitutional rights is for the 1% under Gary. But for everybody else, he don't want no due process. He don't want no protection of the law. He don't want no constitutional right. He don't want no trial. He wants to be judge, jury, and executioner. And now he wants to line up with Stuart Young to be judge, jury, and executioner again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last time I'm talking about Gary, because after tonight, I hope you realize how irrelevant he is. I am a lawyer for 27 years, and I've never seen the criminal justice system in such disrepair. And whose fault is it that it is in disrepair? Who has the resources to spend on the criminal justice system and the police service? Who? Is it the UNC? Is it me? It's Rowley for the last 10 years. So when the criminals are walking out, don't blame the DPP, don't blame the judge, don't blame the jury, don't blame me. If the government is not equipping the police with the resources, what do you expect? If the government is not training the police how to collect and process and gather evidence properly and to present it in court in a way that makes it admissible, whose fault is that? That's the government's fault. If the evidence is poor, if it's them say and they say, if the police breaking the rules, then what are the lawyers to do? But you see, Gary has lined up once again because Rowley gone, or going, if that is real. Hoping to get a Kobo sweat again with Stuart. Hoping again that he could be judge, jury, and executioner when the government is setting up the youth to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, I walked through Valencia. I've never seen so much unemployment in one spot. And you know what they say about idle hands? You know what they say about idle hands? You know who does find work for idle hands? Right. And the devil is making sure that the children of Valencia are unemployed. He's setting them up for failure. He gives them no opportunities. He gives them no hope. He gives them nothing. And then would come on election day and fold up a 500 in a jersey and see if he could fool them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when they give you a jersey, open it. And regardless of what you see in it, it is your job to remove us from the darkness that is covering this land. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your job. You have the power to vote out the People's National Movement. And I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of your children who cannot vote, do them a favor, give them hope, and bring back the United National Congress under Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Love, peace and love.
Toco, Sangre, Grande, good night. When the UNC win, everybody win. Let me just take the opportunity to thank the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Eastern Division, Senior Superintendent Pavement. Thanks very much, and his officers here tonight. Let me take the opportunity to acknowledge the Mayor of Saparia, the Chairman of Princestown, and the Chairman of the Kuva Tabakit Regional Corporation. The next speaker is no stranger to us. A child of the UNC. She likes everything. She likes salt. I don't want to take too long because I want you to have enough time on the stage. Let us put our hands together and invite the next speaker, the MP for St. Augustine, Ms. Khadijah Ameen.
Should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources. I don't know them still can't kill me now. You see,
Sangre Grande, Sangre Grande, looking like we're ready to win. Sangre Grande, let me hear you make some noise. I want to shout out the St. Augustine posse in the house. I want to say good evening to our winning candidate for Toco Sangre Grande, the man Wayne Sturge. And of course to our political leader, who will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar. I sat there listening to Wayne Sturge speak. And I want to ask Sangre Grande, who is your MP again? No, right now. How do you feel about your MP? How does it feel when you see your MP, if you see him? My friends, if the Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, did not see it fit to make your MP a minister, it speaks volumes about his competence. I want you to watch your MP. I want you to listen to your MP. Well, he does hardly talk in Parliament. Listen to him. And then watch Wayne Sturge and listen to Wayne Sturge. You have an intelligent, professional attorney at law, somebody who stands for something, someone who is not afraid to speak out. You have a winning candidate in Wayne Sturge. But more than your candidates, more than your MP, Toco Sangre Grande people, I want all you to look around. I want you to look at you tonight. I want you to look at how they have treated you. I want you to watch. Tonight, I saw an article where Rowley was doing an interview. And he said that if he knew people would have missed him, he would have leave a little earlier. Well, tonight I want to say, Rowley, we're missing you bad. Leave now. Call the election now and go home. My friends, when I look around Toco Sangre Grande, we see neglect and bad treatment. From Toco on the north coast to Valencia. We have the Toco Composite School, where the children are in a container for the longest while. They're leaving the school empty. I don't know if it's for Duena and Lagahu to go in the school. Recently, I found out that they were putting $1 million towards, they say, renovations. So I was happy. I said, well, they're going to fix the Toco Composite School. You know they're going to fix up the containers. They said they want to make the containers more comfortable for the children. But like up here, they like container because the Matlock police station in a container too for the longest while. So that container MP all they have It's time to throw out that container and bring in a real government. My friends, the state of the Toco Composite School is a reflection of the state of the Toco Recreation Ground. When last I went up there, it's 10 years now. Work always starting and stopping. And that is the representation you have. You have so many national athletes coming from Toco. Everybody know about Keyshawn Walcott, our Olympic gold medalist. We have Shaquanda Green Noel, who is a national basketballer. Samantha Wallace, who is playing at one of the biggest netball teams in Australia right now, coming out of Toco. You have Portia Warren, a national shot put athlete, representing Trinidad and Tobago, coming from Toco. And what is the state of the recreation facilities? What happens to the younger budding athletes who have no space to grow and blossom? That is what we have. Right here in Grande on Ojo Road. I don't know if all of you see a place looking like it's abandoned. That is the Grande Sporting Complex. Years now. That project was started under Kamla Prasad Bisesa government. When the PNM came into office, they stopped it, they started, but I realize, I feel, there is only start up that project to Mamagai people. They started up when our election coming up. You have a local government election, you see they're busy. You have general election coming, they get busy again. The PNM had 9.5 years. 9.5 years and they can't finish your facilities. You think they will finish it in 6 months? And then they will want your vote again. And I am saying to you tonight that whether it is Rowley or Young as leader, whether it is Monroe or other failed MPs, all of them is failed MPs. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out, my friends. Our chairman of our regional corporation, the very hardworking Kenwin Phillip, give him a round of applause. He spoke earlier tonight and he mentioned something, which is that according to CSO data, Sangre Grande has one of the areas of the lowest income per capita, which means you have a lot of poor people. Education is a way out of poverty. When we speak about education, we speak about academic, skills training, we speak about opportunities, we speak about sport, we speak about culture as a way for young people to find their way into uplifted status. There are many people from Toco and Sangre Grande who, when it is time for tertiary education, they go to the UTT campus in Omera. The UTT campus in Omera closing down means that our Toco students now have to go nowhere to Chaguanas. Imagine every day traveling from Toco to Chaguanas as a student and back home. There are students who got scholarships who were given accommodation at the current UTT campus where they had housing for students. They no longer have housing. So again, they have to travel from San Fernando to Toco every day. That is what our people in Sangre Grande and Toco have to put up with. It is not just the attack on this constituency. What is happening in the entire country is affecting the growth and development in the people in Toco, Sangre Grande. But I don't know if your MP have a clue of that. I don't know if your MP has a clue of anything. The only solution is logically vote him out. You just have to vote him out. It have no fix in that. I know when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister, in Sangre Grande, you had massive development along the East Coast. You had infrastructure from the highway, the roundabout, the Valencia bypass. In 10 years, the PNM cannot build the Toco main road properly. In 10 years, you remember they promised a highway to Toco? It's not a highway, it's the Toco main road, which they have neglected for years upon years, that they're fixing. So what we are getting is not a highway, it's a main road. So my friends, it is no hard maths. When the UNC wins, everybody wins. And I tell people that under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we saw progress in the entire country. We have a government that is a pack of jokers. You shuffle it anyhow. Any one card you kick is going to be a joker. So whether Rowley is the leader or Young is the leader, is a pack of jokers, and we have to get rid of them. And I say to people who are undecided, in Toco, Grande, they say the race is close. I don't feel so. I feel Sturge is ahead of the race, and he will win Toco, Grande. But I like to tell people who are not sure, when you go to vote, if you are not sure if you want to vote for UNC or PNM, vote for yourself. Because it is your children who will get laptops when they go in school. It is you who will drive on better roads instead of pothole from here to there under Rohan Sinanan. It is you who will get medicine when you go in the hospitals. It is you. It is you who will get surgery. Right now, you go to any hospital, you have a list. You have a list for surgery, a list for tests, a list for CT scan. You're always on a list. If you want something better, vote for yourself. Vote for your children to get skills training close to home. Vote for you to get better opportunities. Vote for you to get pension, not for the man to get $80,000 a month and then come back to get $1 million in pension. My friends, your MP right now, Monroe, he look like he can't help himself, much less to help you. So it is pure common sense. Monroe can't help you. Rowley can't help you. Young, worse yet, can't help nobody. Kamla Prasad Bisesa has a track record of performance and a track record that speaks for itself. While the UNC fights to make sure that everybody gets a better way of life and a better salary and working conditions, what the PNM doing? Fattening their pocket. I want you to remember this, you know. Things not hard in Trinidad and Tobago, you know. We have a waste of time, incompetent government that is making life hard. That is what we have. That is what we have. Why can they raise their own salary, but they can't raise your salary? Why can they give themselves an increase, but when it's time to negotiate with the unions, it's 2% and 4%, and food prices going up by 17%. Minimum wage workers have to work 1 hour to buy a bread that cannot even feed their whole family if they have children. I want you to remember that when you go to vote. I want you to remember that while they're looking in your bank account, and if you have more than $25,000, they don't want to know where you get it and how long you scrape to save that. They don't want to know that you put that down so when it's dead, your children will bury you. What they want to know, you have $25,000, you wouldn't get pension, but they're going home with $1 million in back pay. I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that. So tonight, my friends, the math's real simple. The math's real simple. It is to vote out the PNM. It is to get rid of an incompetent government who has brought hardship on us. And it is for us to bring a brilliant attorney at law, a man who will speak and represent Sangre Grande and Toco with class and integrity. The man they call Wayne Sturge as your member of parliament, and return Kamla Prasad Bisesa as Prime Minister. Thank you.
Toco Sangre Grande! Toco Sangre Grande! Toco Sangre Grande! We vote on them! We vote on them! We vote on them! Now, I believe in being fair. And I think it's only fair that we give PNM credit for some of the things that they have done in the region. We should give them credit for the only international single-lane highway. A single-lane highway, you know. We have to give them credit for that. We have to give them credit for an incomplete market that they constructed in the heart of Sangre Grande between the term 2010 and 2015. Incomplete. And we also have to give them credit for establishing the first tadpole breeding center at the swimming pool on Ojo Road. The first of its kind. So we have to give them credit for that. Brothers and sisters, tonight, we saved the best for last. And when I say the best for last, because all is best in the house. It is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight a powerhouse. As they say, she might be small, but she talawa. Senator, Deputy Political Leader, Jearlean John.
One more day in the struggle. I forget the bongo jungle. You don't know. Want a little sugar now pan. Me not sleep with trouble no man. Oh, said I had a close one yesterday. God put an angel over me. Peace man. All of her meditation. One day things must get better.
So whilst we are celebrating the presence of the DPL with us, the Deputy Political Leader, I want to make this quick announcement. The driver of PCS 8549, can you please remove your vehicle? Thank you.
Oh, down, keep your head above the water cloud. One day things must get better. The rich is wise in his own conceit, but the fool with overstanding searcheth him out. Poor man mourn the rich, riches increase. I said, be not grieved, riches are not forever. Envy not the oppressor, choose none of his ways. Be not wise in thine own eyes, only Jah you must praise. Strive not with a man without a cause. If he have done you no harm, let bygone be bygone. Said I had a close one yesterday. Jah put an angel over me. Be strong. And I say, well, I firm meditation. One day
Things must get better. Thank you. Thank you, Toco Sangre Grande. Thank you. Thank you. I had to say now, Arima last night, and it's Sangre Grande tonight. Thank you, Sangre Grande. Our dearly beloved and very, very honorable Kamala Prasad, Mistress of Senior Council. She's looking on. Give her a good old Sangre Grande welcome. Thank you. Our fellow outstanding speakers. We have warriors in the house. We have fighters in the house. We have men who throwing down in the house. Our MPs, our senators, councillors, aldermen, ladies and gentlemen, LHT is in the house. Thank you, Sangre Grande, for coming out in your numbers to the UNC Pavement Report. Tonight we have on the platform two of our outstanding candidates for General Election 2025. Two very successful professionals in their own right, who have seen fit to offer themselves in service to the people of Toco, Sangre Grande, and St. Joseph, and of course Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. They are two of the hardest working professionals in politics today. We are proud to call them our colleagues. And when you vote them in as the new MPs for Toco, Sangre Grande, and St. Joseph, Trinidad and Tobago will benefit from their exceptional talents, expertise, and their commitment. We have heard their presentations here tonight, and we all will agree that our country deserves better. And today we are not doing well or better. It's not because our country lacks initiative or talent. What we lack is the commitment from the people who voters elect to look after their interests. Many of our speakers spoke about the MP for Toco Sangre Grande in particular. We are where we are now, overlooking this precipice of hopelessness, because Wayne Sturge is not sitting in government as the committed MP for Toco Sangre Grande. There is a saying, into every life a little rain must fall. But when the rain falls on your house top, you don't only want an umbrella, you need the exceptional expertise of Wayne Sturge. When Wayne Sturge turns up, you're not having a good day, generally. But when he turns up and stand by your side, you're a better person and you have a chance at justice. Devesh Maharaj is also a very successful attorney at law who finds time every single day to assist in providing meals for 300 people in Port of Spain. Every single day. He don't ask where's your creed, where's your color, what's your race. But that is what UNC does. When UNC wins, we all wins. These are not men who turn to run and hide when adversity strikes. They will stand with you. They will not run because crime is out of control. They will stand with you and battle any issue that you may be facing. When Sturge, as he told you earlier, about his observation, he told us about his observations in Valencia area whilst he was walking. And last night in our briefing, he spoke about it. He said if there are 200 young people or young men in the Valencia area, 150 of them are not working, 70 or 75%. And that is consistent, whether it is the constituency of St. Joseph, if you walk through Mount Dore, my tower, the bamboo in the zone in Tunapuna, in La Hoqueta is the same thing, and literally in every neighborhood along the East-West corridor or perhaps across the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago, that is the PNM legacy. Of course, crime will not decrease under the Rowley Young administration because this lazy government has not done any fundamental thing or any of the things that are fundamental to ensuring that there's a decrease in crime. They are not engaged, they are not proactive. They are doing nothing which will dissuade youths from a life of crime to create sustainable communities, schools that nurture and present a safe learning environment for our children to go as far as their potential and ambition will take them. During the period 2018, leading up to the 2020 general election, just as Mr. Wayne Sturge told us, we were walking about in La Hoqueta, and we will observe large numbers of young men just sitting on the side of the road. And I recall, and the people from La Hoqueta will recall also, there was a group of young men, and one came up and he started to say, we need jobs and we need opportunities. And I said, listen, we are having a meeting in your area tonight. Come, the political leader will be there. And when they came, as I was talking on the platform, the guy started to talk about we want jobs and opportunities. And I invited him up. We knew him as David. I invited him up to come up and address the crowd because they were in the front row. I told the crowd that David had helped a lady. He had told us that he made mistakes, but he had helped a lady. He had taken 9 bullets for helping a lady escape some kind of criminal attack. What David said resonated with the crowd, and the media picked it up, and they reported his story. At that time, there was a Minister of National Security by the name of Mr. Stuart Young. What did he do? He called a press conference. He went into David's file, and he had a press conference where the following day, after the press conference, every single newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago had it on their front page. The Express in particular had, hero on UNC platform has a long rap sheet, says Stuart. And the National Security Minister Stuart Young has accused the opposition UNC of cavorting with criminal elements to gain political ground. Young said at a press conference on Monday at that time that this government was disturbed by the UNC activities and has called on the population to heighten its radar when it comes to gang activities. Young has also said a man appearing on UNC platform last week claiming to have been shot 9 times and speaking for the youth, in fact, had a long rap sheet. This is a young man who admitted he had gone wrong. And he's saying, I need an opportunity. My colleagues need an opportunity, all of these young men. But what did the Minister of National Security do? He used his power to go and call a press conference for someone who was vulnerable, nowhere in his league, to have him come before the public to insult him, to shame him. Now, this is consistent with the PNM behavior because the current Minister of National Security, when he was the Minister of whatever it was, you know, he went into his constituency in Betham and they splashed water on him. That wasn't a good thing. But you know what somebody from the UNC would have done? They would have said, let me tell you something. You manage, you want to splash water on me? I'm going to take you to work. I'm going to take you to school. Fitzgerald, oh, I didn't see the lion, man. The lion is here. He did not take them to school or to work. He took them to court. He sued them for splashing the water on him. Now, the issue with David didn't end there. Stuart Young's handler, Keith Rowley, was going to appoint Lisa on that day to open something. He then proceeded to tell the audience about this David fella and said the guy had a rap sheet as long as his arms. You see, Winston said something tonight that resonated. Justice is for one group. It's not for all of us. Justice, not just. And in Trinidad and Tobago tonight, if it is not justice, it cannot have any peace. It is the reason we are where we are. We are here by mistake. We are here because of a mistake called the People's National Movement. That is why we are where we are, right? A lazy group of people who decide that they will just eat the fat of the land. They are entitled to that. All is mine. You understand? And there is no justice or no second chances for this David guy. So, CNC3 reported, everybody reported, police started to go and harass this guy where he was working. But you see, we are not a single story. This David, when the mother saw the commotion in the papers and on every radio station, I was told she ran for 3 miles because she didn't have the money for transportation to find her son. She was so bothered. When she saw him, she fell down on the ground and started to cry. Why? Her second son had been imprisoned since he was 15 years old. At that time, in 2018, he had been imprisoned for 10 years. He was 25 years old. So she felt, at 15, he was in prison for attempted murder. So she felt she was going to lose this son also. We are not a single story, and people have problems. And if we don't have a government who is willing to solve these problems, then we cannot continue to keep this government. We are not foolish. So the behavior is not, I say, unique to Young. It goes across the board. And now they are desperate to dump Rowley and pushing Young. But Young is Rowley with hair on his head. They are one and the same. That is what it is. You know, it is the same vulgarity, the same nasty, the same bully. You know, coming back to David, here is Young, a young man of privilege, now with power, going out of his way to humiliate and further destroy a young man who could do him nothing. Their lives are so far removed. A young man admitting to past mistakes, but crying out for help. If your power is not to be used for good, then what is it for? If your power is not to improve the human condition, to lift up the least amongst us, then why is it bestowed upon you? UNC, you know we are not a single story. We all have problems. And many of us go looking for second chances, and that is all right. The Bible said, go and sin no more. So when we have this government that has made us believe that the system is rigged against us, and people cannot catch a break, many believe that this system is just for the rich, and it is not for the poor. Many don't have a father and a mother in high place. They cannot call a minister. And if a Sturge, a Devesh, a Khadijah, a Padarat, a Lion, a Ron, a Kamla Prasad Bisesa doesn't show up, they are doomed. And UNC tonight, we have to go out there and preach the gospel and say when the UNC wins, we all win, everybody win. So if the coronation that they're planning for the new king, he cannot face the people of the PNM, right? They're doing everything, hiding him. He cannot face them. Now this concerns us because it's about our democracy. And this is the ruling party who have decided this fella must not face his own. They must hide him, and they're ducking and they're running. UNC, you know who's standing in the gap? Who's standing between you and having Rowley, the second coming of Rowley? The UNC. And we must ensure that we win this next election. Because, you know, On the 17th of March, they ambushed and murdered 5 men in a place for the Spain, a stone throw from Sturge Young office. He never went. I remember, he never went. Yellows, he ain't gone away. All right. I remembered when I saw this news breaking on social media. I called Twiggy. And I said, Twiggy, I saw that somebody's murdered close to where you live. She said, Jearlean, is not a murder, it's a massacre. And she started to cry. She said, I can't talk. And this gentleman whose office is right next door never went. And now he in tongue play hugging up the same men he called cockroach and say gain them bungs. Right? But when I see Sturge bungs, he does bungs. So I seen Sturge Young bouncing. I don't know what in tongue doing. I don't know what in tongue doing. Chill out. As Twiggy said, go and sit down, boy. You understand? Go and sit down. So yesterday he went and he addressed some graduates of a program called Heroes Foundation. And they asked him, what are you planning for the future curriculum? And how are you going to change this thing? Now, I want to tell him, when I went to Charlottesville Methodist School, the motto was, the heights of great men reach and kept was not attained by sudden flight, but they, whilst their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. And in Belmont Boys RC, which is right in his constituency, the motto is, try and try again, boys. One day you will succeed. They didn't say duck and run. They didn't say game the system. They didn't say don't go and try hard and somebody gonna take you over the finish line. They say try and try again. And the Bible says, by the sweat of thy brow. So what he going to tell the children? What is he going to tell the children about his rise to fame? What is he going to tell them? That, okay, the devil bring it, so it's God who send it? It cannot be. How can we find this to be acceptable? This has everything to do with the functioning of our democracy. And if the PNM can do this in full view of the public, what will they do under cover of their darkness? Now, there's a moral to the story, you know. Because as we are preparing for this general election, and we are walking about and meeting the people and greeting the people and seeing what is happening in their communities and deciding what we can do to assist them. We are the UNC. We believe in being fair. What do you think they're doing? It has a man who called to say he's the only honest Indian. And every election, he does turn up because he knows how much $100 bill does fit in a carry box. But I want to tell him, Stuart Young know the inside of remand yard. Not Stuart Young, sorry. Sturge. He knows the inside of the remand yard. So what's your case in this upcoming election? Mr. Devesh, the same thing happens in St. Joseph. It happened in La Hoquita, where we walk up and down La Hoquita, maybe 6 times, could be 10 times. Didn't nobody walk like us. And the day after the election, I see something come, a sign go up, La Hoquita will become like Dubai, just invest in drugs. That was the plan, you understand? And money start to share. All right, so this time I am telling you, Trinidad and Tobago, and Toco Sangre Grande, if you mind your business, those fellas intend to steal the election. If they can't win it, look at the crowd here tonight. But crowd don't win election because you know we are the bigger party, we are the more enthusiastic party, our people show up. But if on election day we are not alert, the honest Indian will steal the election right here in Toco Sangre Grande. Right here in Toco Sangre Grande. We know who he is. Yes, and we have to say it, we have to call it like it is. So, we saw what played out, and we know that whether it is the MP for Toco Sangre Grande or the one for Arima or the one for La Hoquita Talparo, they stand for nothing. They stand for nothing. One day we were hearing it's 9 to 11 because you know in tongue it has some kind of gangs called 6 and 7 and they say in the PNM it are 9 and 11. I don't know. Allegedly. Allegedly. All right? Allegedly. And they were yesterday holding their ground. Man coming in front of the TV screen and talking all kind of foolishness. And the next thing you know, I heard some big bully went into a meeting and tell them, face the audience. You know what's happening here? Or they don't play up in all your A, whatever. Yes, that is what I heard. There was a leak. There was a leak. The man told them that, right? And every man jack had to go and sign. They capitulated like a a bad card. You know, I know a lot of you like your carnival and thing. And all you all are fans like me of young brother. But don't bother with it. He don't have the greatest bend over. The greatest bend over was done in Balizé House last week, Saturday night. The greatest bend over. You understand? That's what they are doing. You understand? Capitulated, collapse. Will not stand for anybody. And I'm saying, if Penny is standing for herself, she gonna stand for you. If Foster Cummings not standing for himself, who you gonna stand for? If Monroe is standing for himself, who are they standing for? Who are they coming to? What are they going to tell us? They're going to go. So we are saying, you stand when you believe your cause is right. You stand when you believe your cause is just. And you stand in the interest of the people. All right, so if they will not stand for us, will we stand for them? UNC, I'm hearing you. Will we stand for them? So, as I said, when Sturge can be a cool dude sometimes, soft-spoken and a warrior to the core, you know you are not having a good day when he shows up. But he's the only man you want at your side when you're on that other side of whatever the trouble is. So go out there and vote. Vote, vote. Vote. Because we know in the UNC, don't get distracted by PNM and their business, you know. Because there was a time when great is the PNM, but now you know what it is. It's attributous, because all of them are long knife for each other. But don't get mixed up in that. Right? We are to mind our business. Knock on every door. Tell them when the UNC wins, they win. Because they know from 2010 to 2015, their business was much better than it is today. Nobody wants these people. Nobody wants them. So the only institution that Keith Rowley did not destroy in the 10 years has finally fallen at the hands of a man known for his Midas touch. Everything he touches is destroyed and reduced to crime, corruption, and chaos. He destroyed the health sector, the education sector, the energy sector, the national security, agriculture, roads, all while spending $500 billion taxpayers' dollars. And now the piece de resistance, he has destroyed the party called the People's National Movement. So, yes, they are one and the same. So if they are not good enough to fight for you, they are not good for you. So you can see, many will try to dissuade you. They will try to dampen your enthusiasm. They will try to discourage your optimism. You know but you know, please, you know as I know, that here do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and you shall no evil, for thou art with me. So you want to see, we got this. We got this. Let's go win a general election. I thank you so much.
One more day in the struggle.
Toco Sangre Grande.
You know,
When the UNC win, everybody wins. So I just want to let you all know that we have a little light refreshment. So don't go home. Right across the road there, we have some light refreshment, so you can make your way there. Again, we want to thank each and everyone for attending our pavement report. The leader would have took it in our own wisdom, because the people of Sangre Grande is in need of help right now. You agree with me? You agree with me? Toco Sangre Grande. So we want to say thanks to everyone who would have came out here despite the weather condition. We want to say reach home safely, and we hope to see you again soon. We want to say to spread the word of the United National Congress, because we are near victory. We cannot do it without you, the people of Toco Sangre Grande. You all are aware of the troubles and trials that we face in the region of Sangre Grande, and help us to help you. The only song we can deliver to you as a council, if you put a government and a person in charge of local government who understand the needs and wants of the people in the region of Toco Sangre Grande. So again, we say thank you and reach home safely.
because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like